Hi YouTube, my name is Brittany and I just wanted to share with you a little bit how I came to my path. When I was 13, my mom surprised me on the morning of my birthday to go to Florida for a week. And when I was down there, I met a lot of family that I hadn't seen since I was probably about 4 years old. So it was a lot of getting to know people that I hadn't seen for a long time. One of the people that I met was my cousin Lauren. And my cousin Lauren was a vegan, and I wasn't really sure what that was. I mean, my scope as a 13-year-old was pretty limited, and I didn't know a lot of things back then, but she gave me a bunch of books to read, and I started, voraciously reading these books, and was just really excited to get started and make a difference in the world. And so I became a vegan too. And that trip actually changed a lot about who I was and how I thought about myself. It was a very transformational point in my life. But I came back from that trip and I was visiting a lot of chat rooms and talking to a lot of different people, and I made a pen pal from Australia, and she was also vegan. So we talked for a long time, shared recipes back and forth and everything, and I just kind of got to learn about life in Australia for somebody that was close to my age, and she got to learn about life in America. One day we were talking and just, emailing back and forth, and she told me that she was Wiccan, and I had never heard of such a thing. I wasn't really sure what that was, and all she gave me as an answer was that I should research it. So I did. I love researching, anything new that I come across, and I researched probably for months, learning all I could about this new religion because it was just fascinating to me. Because it was all about, the witches and the supernatural and everything that I had learned about as a kid. And I couldn't get enough. I read hundreds and hundreds of books on the topic. Years passed. I'm now 22. And it's almost 10 years since I started learning about this path, and I could never quite get started. I got stuck a lot because when I was younger and trying to come out of, the broom closet, my mom, who is loosely Lutheran, we were the 2-a-year, church-going kind, Easter and Christmas, and we weren't really religious until I decided to be, come Wiccan and start calling myself that openly. And she was trying to do everything that she could to just save me. She was afraid that I was going to hell. We fought a lot about the topic, and so I struggled for a long time about whether or not I should be Christian, should I be, Wiccan, what should I do? Is there a combination of the two? And the combination of the two just didn't seem right. They seemed like they had, two opposing viewpoints, and I just could never seem to make it work. So I watched Saved a lot during that time, and I wanted to be that devoutly connected with my faith. And I just wasn't really sure, what that was yet. I hadn't found, the right type of paganism for me. Wicca is too structured. I appreciate the people who, can follow that path, but it's not necessarily for me. It took me a long time to figure out, I think, where I am in my path now, which I would consider myself a kitchen witch or a cottage witch. I use those terms kind of interchangeably. But basically, I just wanted my magic to be natural, and I wanted to worship the earth and the spirits and, everything without structure. And it took me a long time to come to that path because I thought that, everything had to be done by the book and that you couldn't just make things up. And then one day I was just kind of thinking about it, and I realized that religion is created by man, and it's largely made up. It's based on cycles of the seasons and, all of these natural things that are occurring around us. But somebody just, up and decides that something means something, writes it down, and people take it as truth. That's how Christianity, got started, and that's how a lot of world religions got started. And so I was worried about following something that was just entirely made up. I wasn't sure if it was a waste of time, so I fell out of religion for a while until I finally came back to my path, and it was through videos that I found, like, last year or the year before that, I think it was last Christmas, featuring Autumn Star Moon. And I just immediately connected with her. I started watching her videos from the beginning about how she came to her path and everything, and she called herself a cottage witch, and I was like, wow, that's exactly what I want to do. I watched her grow and change as a person, and just saw somebody who was so spiritual and so connected with, the things that were going on around her, and I wanted to be that connected to my religion. So I started looking into things again and started writing things down, took hundreds and hundreds of notes, and was, creating charts, made hundreds of correspondences lists for like crystals, herbs, days of the weeks, planets, everything. And then one day I just threw it all out the window. I was like, this doesn't feel right. This isn't for me. These things need to come from my own spirit and speak truthfully to me. I need to believe in my heart of hearts that this is what it means. For example, like lavender meaning peace. I can't stand the smell of lavender. It gives me a headache. I don't feel peaceful when I smell it. So I'm not going to write down that the correspondence for everybody else is that lavender means peace, but for me it doesn't. And there were hundreds of examples like this. I was friends with her on Facebook, and one day, just out of the blue, I decided to ask her if she knew of any good year and a day study programs, because I needed somebody to help me with this process. I knew that I couldn't do it alone. And she had studied under Flora Peterson, who no longer does her year and a day. She had also directed me towards the Druidry courses, and I wasn't quite sure if that was for me yet. I hadn't really thought about it. But then she admitted that she was actually teaching a few students her own year and a day program. And I was just floored. I couldn't believe that I could be led to this point in my life and actually get a chance to study under somebody who I just thought the world of. She made such a big impact on me, and I cannot thank her enough for taking me on as a student and showing me how I can create my own path. And I already feel the transformation occurring within me. I've only been doing this for about a week and a half now, or like 2 weeks, and my life has changed dramatically. I can't even begin to describe it, and I feel so blessed, and I feel like this is the right path for me, and I know that I'm finally going to get where I need to be in my faith and in my life, and things are going to start happening for me, and they're going to be good. And that's part of the reason why I wanted to create this YouTube channel, was because I wanted to kind of reflect on my year and a day studies. I wanted a record of it, but I also want you YouTubers out there to grow and change and just kind of watch me transform during this year. And I hope that some of you can get something out of it and maybe be inspired enough to do your own year and a day challenges, and just to come along with me on this wonderful ride for as long as I decide to keep making these videos. And I hope that you learn something, and that there's a lot of tutorials. I know there's going to be a lot of tutorials on how to do, the things that my year and a day requires of me. So I hope that I can make an impact on you guys like Autumn Star Moon has made an impact on me. And she no longer does YouTube videos. Actually, 3 days ago, she created a farewell video. She's taking a 3-year hiatus to focus on her Druidry studies. But I highly encourage you guys to go and watch her videos from the beginning because she just has so much love and light. And I just want to thank her again for, this great opportunity. And I wish her all of the best in her studies. Okay, bye.